Well, welcome. Greetings, everyone, wherever you are on the planet. And I'm John Tupui, and this is part of our WeAwake team. That's Sabi and Pam and Heidi. Hi, folks. And today we are going to do well, they're all interesting tracks, but this one is really good. This is a part of the Refuge collection, and there's two parts of this, and we're doing track 2, and this it trains the brain to alpha. And alpha, when they started discovering that meditation actually did something back in the 60s and 70s, for a long time they thought that alpha was like the ultimate brainwave for meditation, because it helps one to get very focused and clear, and one can think well, although traditionally last thing you're supposed to do in meditation is thinking. But sometimes when we go inside, we can do some of our best thinking, and instead of being monkey mind, it can be sage mind, right? And we all have that place inside of us that there's an inner voice of wisdom and knowing that we can tap into. And the more we work with that, the more helpful it is. And sometimes we just get to a place in our life and I just don't know what to do in this situation. I mean, it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? There was Camus, I think it was, the famous French existentialist, talked about the moral dilemma, and it was during the World War II period, and whether the young man had to decide whether he was going to go serve his country and fight the Nazis, right, be part of the underground, or he was going to stay home and take care of his aging mother, who was going to die pretty soon. So what do? Do you abandon your mother and then kind of abandon your country, or do you go to your country and abandon your mother? And like sometimes these dilemmas, these decisions that we have to make in life are difficult. So it is a good thing to be able to tap into the wisdom voice of the inner sage. And yeah, sometimes we just have to wait. And sometimes it's, all we have to do is ask the question and kind of get the answer. So if there's any issues right now confronting you in your life, and you just don't know how to handle it, or issues are confronting us, big issues, and we feel kind of hopeless or in despair or angst, it's a good time to go inside and say, okay, here it is. Here's all my stuff. And I would sure like some enlightenment on this. I sure like some clarity. And let me know. Okay. So I want to do, I want to do the right thing. And remember the old Our Father, the Jesus prayer, and he says, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Well, we get to the point. I think Meister Eckhart said, where we get to the point, "Thy will be mine." In other words, our will becomes the will of our higher power. That place where we're just being instruments of spirit, instruments of peace, as it says in St. Francis' prayer. So with that, why don't we come inside? And this is a 32-minute and 25-second track. And often it seems like 5 or 10 minutes when we meditate together. It goes very quickly. So sit up straight. Get ready to go inside. And God bless you and speak to you and comfort you and instruct you. And we'll see you on the other side of this. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. That was interesting, informative. And thank you, Nadja. She's our creator, Nadja Lynn, formerly of Berlin, but now she lives in southern Germany, near the French, German, and Swiss borders. A beautiful place. But yeah, so what came up for me is, the importance of respect and treating everyone with the respect that is deserved and inherent, because they are children of the universe. They're here. And a lot of, well, that's one thing, I live in the South. I live in Louisiana a big part of the year now because of a long story. But one thing that's nice about Southern culture is how everybody treats everybody very respectfully. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Mr. John, it's really, and I grew up with that. And so I still do that, wherever I travel in the world. I mean, you can't get in trouble by treating people with too much respect, right? And in some languages, such as German and Spanish, that I know you have a way of addressing elders or people with respect. Sie in German, and the familiar is du. But if you don't do the right, if you get messed up, or tu or usted in Spanish, and you can, you learn that stuff. We don't have that in English. We just, everybody's you, right? And you see it in the King James version of thou, which is the familiar. And Jesus spoke with the familiar, at least in the translations that I know. So what does that mean? Well, that just means that I was working with a guy one time, and he was on a coaching relationship, and he was struggling with some issues that I was working with. And he very, very smart, very successful financially and every way. So finally he says, okay, I got everything. What else do I have to work on? I said, well, you're an arrogant asshole. And it's just like, as you might imagine. And I said, you really are. Think about it. So your assignment is to go out, and when you go to the gas station, is treat, the guy's pumping your gas, the guy you pay, or the one who's behind, the counter, selling drinks and coffee or whatever they do in those places. Treat them with great respect, treat them with their royalty too. And see how that works for you. And it was a very, very powerful lesson. And, right now we look at the overwhelming issues, geopolitically in the world, in Russia, and Russia has a story going that, the West is trying to gobble them up, and we don't respect their great civilization and all that. And that's kind of bullshit. I was in Moscow some years ago, and Pam can tell you, I was just amazed. Tolstoy lived there, Dostoevsky was there, all this stuff in their museums and their art, and this incredible, we love the Russians that we dealt with, and I did a workshop there. And I also, as some of you may or may not know, I'm very, very supportive of Ukraine and their existential fight for existence and freedom. Yeah, they don't want to live under Putin. Well, there's a shocker, and they're willing to die for it. So they are. But there's this thing called 1420. I'll give a plug for this on YouTube. And it's a channel where this young man, I don't know how the hell he gets away with it, but he goes around in Moscow, St. Petersburg, out and just talks to Russians on the street and asks them, provocative questions. Like, what do you think about the special military operation or something like that, and why does the rest of the world seem to hate us and all this? And what you see is that these are amazing people. And I'd say maybe 50% of them won't say anything because they're scared they're going to get locked up if they express an opinion besides the party line. But just shows you what amazing people they are. I mean, they're intelligent. They're just, they're just, yeah. These are not people we want to be enemies with. And same thing for China. China has this feeling that everybody disrespects them and discounts them, and the West is trying to gobble them up and all this stuff. And most of the people that I know, when I mention China, we think of China with some kind of awe. It's probably the most ancient civilization, continuous civilization on the planet right now, and the achievements have been fantastic. And they need to hear that, from us. And so, and the beautiful Indian thing, namaste, I salute the divinity within you that is you. It's beautiful. So, yeah, treat everyone as if they were a child of God. Okay. And yeah, there's a story. There was this monastery, a Christian monastery back when, and they were just not getting along. All the monks were like just really disrespecting each other. And their abbot or some, very respected guy, he said that Jesus is now among us. He's one of you. And all of a sudden, everybody started treating their brother monks as if they were Jesus. And the whole thing changed, So, yeah, and and I'm not saying that you have to be a pushover, but I worked in an industry with disturbed young people go through a lot of things, and a lot of times you have to do physical restraints, keep them from hurting themselves or hurting somebody else. And boom, when I do my thing, Pam, you were there. I always treated them with great love and great respect. Even when we were in the middle of a physical altercation, I'd hold them down. Okay. It's going to be all right. I'm on your side. All right. This is going to be okay. And we're going to get through this together, or whatever I said, and it wasn't manipulation. It's how I felt. And that would de-escalate even something that started out as something quite, I don't know, it started out kind of scary and kind of violent. In fact, I worked in one program where the idea was that you had to be restrained by me to be as part of the group, and you'll like it. Attack me or whatever, and blah, 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 and then I wouldn't be mad. I mean, sometimes adrenaline's going, but you treat them with respect. And it's okay, welcome, to the family, the other students would say. So, yeah, it's important, and sometimes we feel overwhelmed that we can't do. What can I do about the war in Ukraine? What can I do to make sure the Ukrainians get their country? What can I make sure that young, Russians get thrown into the meat grinder? And not a hell of a lot that I can see, except being supportive of my Ukrainian friends and their struggle. But what we can do is learn to treat each other with more respect. And how do you do that? Then, if you don't know anything about China, find out about China, to study the history. In fact, I was invited to give a talk at one of the top universities in China, I don't know, a few years ago. And, it was, I did it via Zoom. It went really well. And, I said, I feel really humbled to be teaching you guys about meditation, where you come from this ancient civilization, practically invented meditation. So anyway, and that was sincere for me. And then I never heard of them again. And of course, there were political things going through China, just cutting off from the West and all that stuff. But it was an amazing moment to be there and feel that these amazing people, and these were some of their brightest, top students and professors and everything. It was quite a thing. So hopefully someday we'll be back again. So yeah, so your assignment today, boys and girls, is just to treat everybody with tremendous respect. Okay. Oh, that goes for animals too. All right. Oh, you're just a dog, or you're just a cat. No, you're just God, and treat it like that. And learn more about Sabi. She's from the Philippines, and I was giving her a lecture on Philippine history. I know, probably uninvited, but because we have people in WeAwake that are from the Philippines, so I started studying my Philippine history, and it's amazing. It's really ancient. And it goes way back. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And you can get on YouTube and just find the history of the Philippines, and it goes back, way beyond 1,000 years. I mean, a lot of stuff going on. Amazing history, amazing culture, amazing people, in my experience. So, yeah, find out about people, and find out about their country, and find out about their culture, and find out about their psychology, and find out what's bothering them, and then you can't go wrong. Oh, and I used to be a military cop, and when I was arresting someone, we called it apprehending. We didn't use the word arresting in military jargon, but I was always, whether I was putting him in handcuffs or whatever I was doing, I tried to do it with great respect, and so anyway, that's just a little step in the right direction. And don't listen to those of us who try to use hatred and insults and put downs and to keep us divided and keep us angry and keep us scared. Don't go there. And that's just kind of easy, it's easier to go downhill than it is to go uphill. Right? To climb the mountain is going to take a little more effort, but it is immensely more rewarding. And we don't know what just little examples of kindness and goodness and respect will do to change the bigger picture. That's not our responsibility. That's God's job. But our job is to show up and to be respectful of everyone as divine, even no matter how messed up they are or sick or disturbed or whatever. Still, you got to show respect, and however that manifests itself. So anyway, that's came up on my heart today. And namaste, everyone. And just go out and pay attention. If somebody's helping you take your groceries to the car, just talk to them, and listen to them. Listen deeply, and I've learned a lot by doing that. And anyway, I'll be quiet now. Again, namaste. Love you guys.